It's time for sports with Joshua Kuya. First time on the show. I've been meaning to get you on for a little while, but obviously we haven't seen you in action for a little while. Had that fight against Damon Jackson booked, and then, like the rest of the world, COVID popped up and ruined that.
Yeah.
I guess first of all, how was that setback for you? How did you deal with that? Was it overly frustrating, or was it just a case of you kind of just have to suck it up and push on?
It was a bit of both, to be honest. Like it kind of sucks that I was already out for a long time, and then I finally got that fight booked, and then I got hit with COVID, and yeah, so it was a bit annoying, just like the whole lockdown, COVID lockdown here in Australia, and then once we started to open up again, I caught COVID. So just as I booked the fight, and just as I was starting to start the camp, I caught COVID, and it really messed me up. So yeah, it's a bit of both. It's like I was bound to get COVID at some stage, but also yeah, like it is what it is. What can I do? So it's one of those things that what can I do? Like, so yeah, it's a bit of both. Bit of frustration, but also a bit of like, yeah, is what it is.
I guess it didn't let you back up the momentum from that last fight win against Shayilan Nuerdanbieke. Very impressive performance. Shutout, unanimous decision. Must have been a nice feeling to finally get your hand raised after that Jourdain one got taken away from you.
Technically in the draw, they both raised both their hands, so I
It's
don't
not
know,
quite the same though, is it?
but yeah, for sure, it's funny like that how yeah, like you can gain one fight and try to build off the momentum, and then people start to say your name, and you start to build that little bit of hype behind you, and then you don't fight for a year, and then people forget again. So it's like I'm just gonna go back out there and remind them that I'm a future contender for that belt. So
yeah, you mentioned people forgetting. I had a quick look at the odds for this card, and I think every New Zealand or Australian fighter at UFC 275 is going in as an underdog, except Jack Della Maddalena, who's at a pick'em. I feel like there's a little bit of disrespect coming for this end of the world.
Don't worry, we're gonna shut them up. Hey, they just don't understand yet. They just don't understand. From our little area in the world, we're producing world-class fighters, and yeah, it's just a matter of time. Like we've already proved it with Volkanovski, with Adesanya, with Whitaker, with all these other guys as well. So it's we're coming through, and it's only a matter of time till Australia, New Zealand, our area starts to really take over.
You get Seung Woo Choi at 275 a couple of weeks from now. What do you make of him as an opponent?
I think he's a great opponent. I think he's a great fighter. He's young. He's hungry. He's tall. He's rangy. He's dangerous. Looks for the finish. He's not a guy that's gonna come in trying to hug me and win the fight by stalling the fight. So I feel like I do a lot better against guys that bring the fight. Guys that come and really try to hurt me. It gives me that sort of like that mongrel feeling of like, oh, he's really trying to hurt me. So it's like vice versa. I'm gonna go out there and try to do the exact same. So yeah, it's I'm pretty happy with the matchup. I think it's gonna be fight of the night. If not fight of the night, I feel like it's gonna be a performance of the night. So yeah, they're definitely excited for this fight. Big stadium, first time fighting on a pay-per-view. Yeah, so, and it's close to home. Singapore's not that far from Australia, so I'm excited.
Yeah, you mentioned first pay-per-view. Are you expecting sort of any differences in the stage, or like, I mean, you fought in Auckland, that was a pretty hectic crowd. Like,
Yeah,
can you expect much more than that?
no, I'm just expecting like it's more so, I think, for me, just to be able to say I fought on a pay-per-view card. I don't think there's going to be that much difference in terms of like what I have to do or what the crowd's going to do. It's like, yeah, there's no difference for me.
I suppose at the end of the day, it's just another fight, right?
That's it. I could be fighting in an alleyway with a group of people screaming at me to fight, and could be in front of a stadium. So there's no difference. So it's like, yeah.
How have things changed for you, if at all, since you got into the UFC?
That's a pretty common question, to be honest. People think that your life changes just because you're in the UFC. To be honest, it's all the same. My training is still the same. My training partners are still the same. I'm still doing the same routine, probably, picking up a little bit more, if anything. It's all the same. It's just that I feel like people view you differently, that people that don't know you view you differently. Like, I feel like that's the only real difference, is that like a little bit more people know your name, but nothing like in your inner circle really changes. Like, my friends are still my friends, my family's still my family, my coaches are still my coaches, my training partners are still my training partners. So it's like there's nothing really different that has really changed. But in terms of myself, I feel like it's definitely a dream come true. It's like one of those things on the bucket list that I really wanted to achieve. So it's, make it to the UFC, tick that box, and now to become one of the best, I'm going to try and tick that box next. So yeah.
I know you've been doing a lot of training with Volkanovski over the past few years. How has that helped you develop? What is he like to work with?
He's the best. He's a champion. He's a champion inside the cage, outside the cage. He's honestly just all around a top bloke. And like working with him, he's just proved to me that like, you don't need to go to these mega camps, like these world-class camps where they'll have all the UFC fighters there. He proved it, that you could be a world champion in a small gym in the middle of Wollongong. You know what I mean? Like, and it basically just through hard work and dedication and just consistency. And it just goes to, it just like really, what's the word, is like, he really like solidifies it and makes it known that like he didn't have to go anywhere to train, and that he was able to come up and become a champion here in Australia. He didn't need to go to these big fight camps to get the work in. He just was training hard and was just dedicated, and that's where he is now. He's literally the epitome of hard work and dedication.
Back to your fight, what are some of the advantages you see you having over the man they call Sting?
I feel like he's very linear. I don't want to give away too much, but I feel like he's very walk you down, straight forward guy. And yeah, I feel like that's one of his biggest things. And sometimes he overreaches with a few of his shots. So, and I feel like that plays right into my hand. Somebody that's going to come out aggressive and try to really get at me, I feel like they're going to overextend themselves, and more likely or not, they're going to get caught. So I feel like, yeah, I don't want to give away too much, but that's definitely, I feel like he's a bit more linear, and he stays very, like, his rhythm stays the same. There's no change up in rhythm. It's very Muay Thai style, where he's just coming forward, walk you down, and tries to land, big punches and big kicks. So
I feel like in your UFC fights so far, that has happened almost every single time. Your opponent has sort of just come and tried to walk you down, and then they've walked into something and ended up on their butt. I mean, is that like something that you've had through your whole career? Like, people, I guess, not so much disrespecting you, but trying to, I guess, bring you into a dogfight like that?
Yes and no. I feel like I'm a little bit patient, where some of these guys are just, trying to get at you and trying to really like just try to rip your head off straight away. And there's a time and place for both. You know what I mean? There's a time to be patient, and there's a time to obviously go out there and try to rip the guy's head off. And throughout most of my career, like, I've always been the tall, rangier fighter. So a lot of the guys had to come towards me and try to really bring the fight towards me and be the aggressor and try to push me up against the fence and try to bully me around. So it's been like a sort of game plan that I've done plenty of times, of guys just trying to really walk me down. But the only difference now is this guy's going to walk me down, but he's the taller fighter. So yeah, it doesn't change too much. I'm just, I'm excited, really excited for this fight. I feel like I said before, that I feel like this is going to be a banger of a fight. If not, I see it ending pretty viciously if he walks in the way he's been walking in. So
You mentioned small gyms just before. Yourself, you fight out of a pretty unknown gym in the wider scale of things, Igor MMA. Do you just
Yep.
want to talk about the gym and shout them out a little bit?
Yeah, man. So I've been with them throughout my whole amateur career. I've been with my head coach, Igor Breckenbach. Um, he's the man. He's literally like, you know, a lot of people give Eugene Behrman and Joe Lopez a lot of credit, but nobody really gives my coach a lot of credit. Well, not yet, because he hasn't, you know, he hasn't made himself well known yet. But to me, he's like a secret weapon that, like, I'm kind of glad that he hasn't been like exposed yet. Like, he hasn't been like exposed to the world, so people can see how really smart and how really how he's literally just a wizard, a genius in this craft. And yeah, he's literally a secret weapon for me. And yeah, the gym is starting to grow, especially with me being in the UFC now. A lot of young amateurs are coming through, and obviously they're seeing that I can make it to the UFC through training through that gym by myself, you know. So yeah, it's like it's what it's like yeah, it's like it's giving them confidence, knowing that they don't have to go anywhere special to be, you know, to make it to the UFC and to succeed in the UFC. So yeah, it's a very good thing that I'm able to, you know, bring that sort of audience to the gym. So it's good.
Sorry, man. And just lastly, a few weeks out now, what do the next few weeks look like for you? Just more training hard, or are you sort of starting to taper off and just look after that body a little bit?
Nah, my coach won't let me taper off. He's always about the hard work. Definitely no tapering off. Probably like 3 days out, 4 days out from weigh-ins or the fight, is that when we'll probably start to chill out. But other than that, it's all gas, no breaks.
Oh, good, man. Well, I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for your time, and hope all goes well on the day.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you for having me on.